On September 21, 1938, a hurricane struck Long Island and southern New England with almost no warning, killing hundreds in a single afternoon, the deadliest hurricane disaster in New England history. That disaster sits at number 1 on this countdown. But it is hardly the only threat along a coastline most consider settled and tame. From eroding barrier islands and underground swamp fires to sinking cities and mountain peaks with hurricane-force winds, we are ranking 20 places where the East Coast quietly turns deadly. The countdown begins at number 20, on an island most people visit for its wild horses. In the 20th place, Assateague Island hides real danger beneath its peaceful, postcard-perfect exterior. This barrier island constantly shifts, its shoreline retreating landward by an average of 26 feet every year. While tourists flock to the dunes to see the famous wild horses, they often overlook the threats of sudden, violent rip currents sweeping across miles of remote, unguarded beaches. With sea levels projected to rise up to 6 feet by the turn of the century, the National Park Service warns that $135 million of coastal infrastructure is already standing on borrowed time. Number 19. The Great Dismal Swamp straddles the border of Virginia and North Carolina, presenting a quiet, deceptive hazard. Unlike coastal dunes, the danger here lies in entrapment within poorly drained peat wetlands. In 2011, an underground peat fire smoldered for 111 days, surviving a foot of rain from Hurricane Irene. Below the canopy, thick brush, venomous snakes, and sudden flash floods turned shallow basins into inescapable traps. For centuries, this hostile ground has swallowed those who wander off the path, proving that some of the coast's worst threats are subterranean. Number 18. Mount Washington, New Hampshire, brings sudden atmospheric violence to the ranking. Standing at just over 6,000 feet, this peak in the presidential range generates lethal alpine conditions that climbers frequently underestimate. On April 12, 1934, observers Sal Pagliuca, Alex McKenzie, and Wendell Stevenson recorded a historic wind gust of 231 miles per hour, which stood as a world record for decades. Here, clear skies can degrade into hurricane-force winds and complete whiteout conditions in less than an hour, punishing hesitation and poor judgment with freezing temperatures on a deceptively accessible peak. Number 17. The Blue Ridge Parkway winds through North Carolina, Virginia, and Tennessee, turning an iconic scenic drive into a gauntlet of routine hazards. This continuous mountain roadway is subject to rapid weather shifts. Dense fog frequently rolls into sharp curves without warning, dropping visibility to zero. Shaded sections at high altitudes hold freezing temperatures, creating patches of black ice while lower stretches remain dry. Drivers face hundreds of miles with limited guardrails, where a single mistake leads to a steep drop. In these remote mountain stretches, wildlife collisions are common, and emergency response times can take hours. Number 16. The Great Smoky Mountains straddles Tennessee and North Carolina, where heavy tourism collides with unpredictable mountain terrain. Welcoming over 12 million visitors in 2024, this is America's busiest national park, drawing massive crowds of casual hikers into a wilderness that changes rapidly. Unprepared families frequently underestimate how quickly elevation gains drop temperatures and spark fierce storms. Below the peaks, narrow mountain hollows funnel rain into sudden, violent torrents, leaving unsuspecting people with only minutes to escape rising waters. This high volume of visitors increases emergency rescue operations, proving that these popular slopes are some of the coast's most deceptive zones. Visitors must remain alert to changing mountain weather. Number 15. The Everglades of Florida moves the countdown into subtropical danger, where the swamp itself can defeat human orientation and endurance. This massive, featureless wetland offers no natural landmarks, making it remarkably easy to lose direction off marked trails. The climate is punishing, with summer temperatures regularly exceeding 95 degrees Fahrenheit, alongside 80% humidity, causing rapid heat illness and dehydration. Below the sawgrass, the threats are biological. Native alligators present a constant hazard, now joined by an estimated 30,000 to 300,000 invasive Burmese pythons. This harsh environment blends extreme heat, disorientation, and predators into a silent, inescapable trap. Number 14. The Florida Keys present a beautiful but precarious geography where escape is the greatest challenge. This low-lying island chain has almost no high ground, leaving it completely exposed to storm surges that can overtop the lowest land. During a major storm, this narrow geography turns a vacation destination into a lethal access trap. Evacuation relies entirely on U.S. Route 1, a single highway stretching over dozens of bridges and low roadbeds. If storm surge blocks even one section of this road, the entire chain is cut off, turning an evacuation order into an inescapable bottleneck with water rising on both sides. Number 13. Cape Cod, Massachusetts concentrates several public recreation hazards along one famous vacation coastline. This popular summer destination hides intense dangers beneath its postcard-perfect beaches. A massive recovery in the local seal population has driven a sharp rise in great white shark activity close to shore, forcing frequent beach closures. Alongside this wildlife threat, swimmers face powerful rip currents and shifting sandbars that constantly alter underwater conditions. Compounding these hazards is the bone-chilling Atlantic water, where freezing temperatures present a sudden risk of hypothermia and drowning. Vacationers routinely underestimate these natural forces, turning a simple swim into a struggle for survival along the edges of this fragile peninsula. Number 12. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge-Tunnel in Virginia turns coastal exposure into a severe infrastructure hazard with almost no margin for safety. Spanning 17.5 miles of open ocean, this concrete crossing inherits all the violent geography of the surrounding sea. Drivers cross narrow lanes with virtually no shoulder to escape car trouble. Dense coastal fog frequently blankets the structure, reducing visibility to near zero in seconds. Beneath the roadbeds, strong Atlantic tides and shifting currents complicate rescue operations. Designed in an earlier traffic era, the bridge tunnel forces modern vehicles to face extreme maritime weather on a thin roadway, proving that man-made structures remain vulnerable to the water below. Number 11. Tangier Island, Virginia presents a danger that is not a sudden disaster, but the slow, absolute disappearance of the land itself. Situated in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay, this historic fishing community has watched 66.75% of its landmass vanish since 1850. Shoreline erosion eats away approximately 3 feet of the island every year, compounded by rising seas and sinking land. Scientific projections warn that Tangier Island could become entirely uninhabitable by 2051. For the families who have lived here for generations, the threat is an existential choice: accept a proposed $150 million buyout to abandon their heritage or watch their homes sink into the bay. Number 10. Miami Beach and South Florida, where chronic flooding has transitioned from a seasonal hazard into a routine of daily urban life. NOAA tide gauges record relative sea level rise here at approximately 3.2 millimeters per year, among the fastest rates on the Atlantic coast. This acceleration fuels sunny day flooding, forcing saltwater up through storm drains and onto dry streets under completely clear skies. South Florida's aging gravity-fed drainage systems and multi-million-dollar pump infrastructures are increasingly overwhelmed, struggling to push water back into a rising ocean. Here, the threat is no longer defined solely by major hurricanes. Instead, recurring tidal inundation has silently integrated into the everyday pattern of life. Number 9. Charleston, South Carolina, where severe flood risk is built directly into the foundations of a historic city. Much of this low-lying peninsula is constructed on filled marsh and tidal flats, leaving centuries-old urban neighborhoods highly vulnerable. Local sea levels are rising by 1.3 inches per decade, nearly double the global average. This rapid rise fuels severe tidal inundation, with king tides pushing saltwater into downtown streets dozens of times each year, including a record 68 days in 2023. When a hurricane threatens, storm surge stacks directly onto an already saturated sinking foundation. The historic layout makes modern water exposure far more severe, threatening irreplaceable architectural heritage built on unstable ground. Number 8. Savannah, Georgia, sits in a low-lying basin where a tidal river setting creates a severe structural hazard. This historic city has a shallow elevation above sea level, bordered by vast saltwater marshes. During major storms, the Savannah River acts as a funnel, forcing immense volumes of ocean water directly into the dense urban core. This surge combines with heavy rainfall to completely overwhelm the city's colonial-era drainage systems. Instead of dispersing, the surrounding marsh geography concentrates floodwater, trapping it within the famous historic district. This river and marsh network is the defining mechanism of Savannah's vulnerability, channeling water directly into the celebrated streets that millions of people visit each year. Number 7. Norfolk, Virginia, combines sinking land with rising seas around infrastructure of critical national security. The region is home to Naval Station Norfolk, the largest naval base in the world, which sits less than 10 feet above sea level. Here, the hazard is double-edged. The Atlantic Ocean is rising, while the land itself is rapidly subsiding. Virginia Tech researchers found the region is sinking between 2.3 and 5 millimeters every year. Under current projections, sea levels could rise up to 6.9 feet by the end of the century, threatening to submerge dry docks and paralyze military operations. This convergence of geological sinking and ocean rise transforms routine tidal flooding into an existential threat to national defense. Number 6. New York City compresses two distinct environmental threats into America's most densely populated urban footprint: extreme summer heat and highly vulnerable infrastructure. The city's massive concrete expanse drives a severe urban heat island effect, causing an average of 560 heat-related deaths every summer, primarily concentrated in older, uncooled housing. Yet the threat from below is just as severe. In 2012, Hurricane Sandy pushed a historic storm surge into the harbor, flooding 7 subway tunnels under 14 feet of water and triggering a transformer explosion that plunged lower Manhattan into darkness, cutting power to over 670,000 customers. This massive metropolis now relies on aging transit, electrical, and drainage systems that were built for a coastline that simply no longer exists. In the 5th place, Boston, Massachusetts, faces a structural crisis built on its own expansion history. Nearly 1/6 of this historic metropolis stands on artificial landfill rather than solid geological ground. This reclaimed earth compacts poorly, leaving low-lying zones like the Seaport Financial District exposed to extreme tidal events. When powerful winter nor'easters strike, they drive cold Atlantic water directly into these filled neighborhoods. During high tides, winter storm surges combine with rising seas to push coastal floodwater past protective barriers, regularly submerging downtown streets and transit entrances under nearly a foot of saltwater. Boston presents a clear case of urban risk where centuries of making land have created a pathway for the ocean to reclaim the city. In the 4th place, the Outer Banks of North Carolina sit on a fragile barrier island chain that is physically migrating and narrowing over time. This thin strip of sand faces the open Atlantic, leaving very limited high ground for residents and seasonal visitors. On these low-lying islands, coastal erosion is not an abstract, gradual threat. The shoreline retreats rapidly, undermining house foundations and causing beachfront homes to collapse directly into the rising surf, particularly around vulnerable coastal communities like Rodanthe, where multiple multi-story houses fell into the ocean in recent years. Facing repeated hurricane exposure and severe winter storms, the built environment is locked in a direct, visible battle with the sea, proving that building permanent structures on moving sand is an increasingly dangerous gamble. Coming to the top three, Cape Hatteras and Diamond Shoals represent a legendary corridor of maritime peril. Known as the graveyard of the Atlantic, this treacherous stretch of North Carolina water has claimed over 2,000 documented shipwrecks since the colonial era. Here, the warm Gulf Stream collides directly with the cold Labrador Current, creating a violent ocean environment that constantly shifts underwater sandbars and alters safe shipping lanes. Today, this collision generates lethal, fast-moving rip currents that remain the region's leading weather-related killer, causing nearly 200 drownings over the past 25 years. With peak summer weekends still recording more than 30 rip current rescues in a single day, this shifting coastline proves that its centuries-old reputation for danger remains actively lethal today. In second place, Atlantic City exposes the extreme vulnerability of anchoring a massive urban resort to a highly unstable barrier island. In 2012, Superstorm Sandy drove a historic storm surge of over 10 feet directly into the city, obliterating large sections of the historic boardwalk and submerging entire neighborhoods under feet of saltwater. Despite this catastrophic devastation, developers immediately began a repeated cycle of rebuilding massive hotels, casinos, and homes in the exact same flood-prone locations. Lacking natural protection like wide dunes, this low-lying strip of sand faces accelerating sea level rise and severe winter storms, yet human settlement remains completely locked to this known hazard. Rebuilding on this shifting coastline ensures that future ocean surges will repeatedly reclaim these same vulnerable streets, making long-term safety impossible. And finally, in first place, the New England Hurricane Corridor remembers the catastrophic fury of the 1938 Long Island Express. On September 21, 1938, this fast-moving Category 3 hurricane slammed into Long Island and southern New England with virtually no warning, killing roughly 600 to 800 people and destroying tens of thousands of homes in a single afternoon. It stands as the deadliest natural disaster in New England's recorded history. Yet, millions of people continue to live, build, and invest in this exact same path, driven by strong cultural roots and massive coastal economies. It is a sobering reminder that on this crowded, aging coastline, our choice to live with danger makes these vulnerable shores increasingly perilous. Do you live near one of these dangerous places, or did we miss a spot on the East Coast? Tell us in the comments. Subscribe to the channel for more historic documentaries. Across all 20 locations, one sobering truth emerges. The East Coast's greatest danger isn't the wildness of nature, but our stubborn insistence on building over it. Centuries of dense development now collide with rising seas, shifting sands, and failing infrastructure. Do you live near one of these locations, or did we miss a dangerous spot? Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more documentary investigations.